Okay, so for those that don't know me, I am Val Wishart. My business is Beyond the Numbers, and we're in Edinburgh. We were in the centre of Edinburgh. We currently no longer have an office. We're all working from home, and who knows what will happen going forward. But we're based in Edinburgh. Most of our clients are small businesses around the Edinburgh area-ish. We've got them a bit all over the place, but mostly in Edinburgh. Really work with small business owners and try to work quite closely with them to understand where they're going with their business and what they want to do to figure out how we can best help them. There are 6 of us in the team, all ladies, not deliberately, just happened that way. And yeah, that's about it, I think, as a sort of introduction.
Spot on. Thank you very much. Well, look, just by way of setting the scene, because we need to capture. I know from speaking to you how great things are in your practice right now. But what were things like? Maybe once upon a time. What were things like before you started to see the progress that you've since made? And I know that a lot of that's through ABN. So just tell us a little bit about that.
I think the best way to describe it probably is that the business was running me rather than me running the business when I first came across ABN, because I was just literally reacting to everything that was thrown at me. Okay. We had probably about the same number of clients that we have now. I can hear.
Sorry, can I just get everyone to mute themselves, please? There's somebody not on mute there, and if Victoria or Emma can just keep an eye on the mutings as well, that'd be fantastic. Sorry, Val, please continue.
Okay. Yeah, probably about the same number of clients as we had now. There were 4 of us in the team at that point, and our turnover was probably about 50% less. Not 50% less. We've grown turnover by about 50% since then. So, as you can imagine, it was a lot of clients for a few of us. We were running around like headless chickens a lot, really working long hours, working weekends, not making nearly enough money, and not having time to do anything or actually even stop to think about what we actually wanted to do. So it was pretty miserable, and I couldn't have gone on for much longer doing what I was doing. Something had to change, because there was no point in me doing it if I carried on that way.
What were the other things that you looked at doing?
Finding a job for somebody. Actually, at the time, my dream job was a receptionist in a beauty parlour. Sounded ideal to me at the time. No stress, no responsibility, and free nails. I really didn't want to do it anymore. I just felt like I was working for everybody else and not for me. So something had to give, and things had to change.
So just give us again a fast forward to where you are now. Then, what are the kinds of benefits that you've seen? What does your practice look like right now?
Well, from my personal point of view, I feel as if I'm running a business now rather than just reacting to what people want of me or ask of me. So I make the decisions, I drive the business, I decide where it's going, and I've got a really clear idea in my head of that, as do the whole team. And we plan everything. We have quarterly updates on our plans. We check off our plans every week to make sure everything's going in line with them. We are driving the business towards where we want the business to go all the time, and it's constantly evolving. That doesn't mean that we've got a perfect business and that it's finished. It's not finished, and it will never be finished. It's constantly changing all the time, and we're always looking for the next best thing, the next way to help our clients, the next way to help ourselves, the next way to make things better. I've actually got the time to do that now, and also I have very little to do with what the clients need or require on a day-to-day basis. The team takes care of that now. I mean, I've got a small number of clients that are friends of mine that are still my clients, But if everybody else, the team takes care of, and I'm a bit like, I don't know how many people on this call are old enough to remember Are You Being Served? But if you do, I'm a bit like young Mr. Grace, who gets wheeled out from time to time and goes, carry on, and then gets wheeled off again. So yeah, so the team takes care of the clients and the clients' needs, and I'm sort of mostly a figurehead, and I'm behind the scenes, driving and pushing and changing and evolving, and also finding the time to do my own thing, which is, as you know, is my little yoga business that I started up a year ago. So yeah, the business is in a completely different place, and now I am running the business and the business is not running me.
That sounds fantastic. I've got a couple of extra questions myself, but just in the meantime, look, be either clicking the hand raise by clicking reaction box at the bottom and click the hand raise if you'd like to just verbally ask a question. Alternatively, just put whatever questions you've got into the chat box as well. So for me, I think I suppose just to kick this off as well is, what was that like, that transition? You know, from I often find that accountants generally are quite control freaks, and it's very difficult to let go. Forgive the accusation of control freak, but what was that like for you, Val?
No, I am very much a self-confessed control freak, and it was really hard. I'm not going to lie. The whole thing wasn't easy. It's not easy. You've got to go through the hard work and the graft. It takes a lot to, first of all, look inside and say to yourself, what do you actually want? Vision that, find the headspace to actually take the time to vision that, and then figure out the steps to get there and start working through them. And, you know, there might be a time when actually you think, oh God, am I doing the right thing here? This is really hard. But actually, if you keep going, if you've got the vision and you've got the plan and you know where you want to get to, you will get there. But for me, it starts off with, what do you actually want? Ask yourself, because if you can emotionally connect with the goal that you're working towards, then it will make it so much easier to get there. Because even though you're going to go through things like that, you're going to try things out that don't work, you're going to fire a client and then feel really, really, really guilty about it because you think, oh, that's terrible, I'm a really bad person. But you have to get over these things. You've got to move through them, and as long as you know where you're trying to get to, then it's much easier to do that. But it's not an easy process. It's not something that you can just go, oh yeah, it's dead easy to get there. It's not.
Yeah, I agree. Okay, another question from Libby, who said to all panelists actually, so I'll get you all to answer this question. But have you niched, or do you have several niches?
We've not niched. We've niched away from things. There are certain things we don't do, like charities and taxi drivers and things like that. But we don't have a specific niche. However, interestingly, analysing our clients, they do tend to fall into certain big categories, and that's just kind of happened. And possibly happened through referral, because we're referred a lot. So we have actually almost half of our clients are professional services companies, and that's probably because we're referred by other professional service companies and tech companies. Edinburgh's a huge tech base, so there's a great number of tech companies in Edinburgh. So we've got a lot of tech clients, but that's come about not because we have decided that we've got a niche, but possibly because that's the language we speak and the people that we know and the contacts that we have that refer us to each other.
Spot on. I'm going to just move on to Ross's question then. So what was the first step to shift the workload from it being you to people in your team? I'm obviously just extending that question.
The first step to shifting the workload, I guess, was me working on myself to let go, because it wasn't because the team didn't want to, it was because I was being a control freak and holding on to it. And actually, it was actually working on myself to say, you got to let go. And actually, sometimes you've got to let something break in order for you to see what needs to be systemized for you to be able to let go. So, and I knew that the only way of letting go was putting systems in place that weren't there before. It was all in my head. So I knew that getting it out of my head and into other people's capabilities was really important. So actually, any time that I had to do something, finding out, finding somebody that I could train it to, sitting down with them, telling them how to do it, and as I explained to them how to do it, got them to write the system while we were doing it, so that it went into their heads, and actually being brave enough to say, right, go ahead and do that yourself now, or go ahead and have that meeting with the client yourself now. You can do it. These are the things that you've got to go through. You know, we've gone over the answers, gone over the likely questions, go for it. And that is actually, when you're a control freak and in charge of running your own business and it's your baby, it's a really scary moment. But actually you've got to let it happen, and have faith that you've given your staff the right tools, the right methodologies to be able to go and do what it is that you want them to do. And if you get the right team in place, then you can do that. It's so important to have the right people. That it's absolutely, I could not have done this if I didn't have the team that I had. Emma knows my team well. They are amazing. So 100% behind your team's attitude and approach to everything. Never mind their skill, you can teach them that to an extent. I don't mean to frivolize people's qualifications and everything, because they are important, but actually the attitude is the most important thing.
Spot on, thank you. So
I don't know if that answered your question. I think I rambled a bit there.
No, well, yeah, there's no just simple solution to it, is there? It's everything you've just said. I think that's important. Andy, now I'm not sure when this question came in, whether he felt that you didn't address it before when I asked about the niche. So he says, have you got an ideal client?
Yes. Do you want me to expand on that?
Well, just briefly. I mean, we've already got just over a minute left, so just you know, obviously it's not niched. So how would you define the ideal client in your case?
A small business owner, preferably one owner would be is ideal for us, because they make all the decisions and they make it easier. A business that wishes to grow, a business that has employees that's in our area, if at all possible, and actually we've actually sort of done little personas for who our ideal clients are, and we think it's actually, if we were to niche, it would be a tech company, and it would be somebody between the ages of 20 and 40 that has got a really good tech startup company that's got potential to grow, potential for high growth, and we can really help them a lot. Because we've got a lot of clients that are like that. So that would be an ideal client for us. But we've also got a persona that's a professional services company that has got the same values as we have, that want to drive towards the same things that we drive towards for helping their own clients. So we have all these little personalities or personas mapped out that we wish for as clients.
Spot on. In the last 10 seconds, just this last question was, how long before you realized you're in a much different place than before you started AVN?
Pretty much within weeks of joining up with AVN. I was already in a different place, because I'd already fired some clients and repriced other clients, and there was, for less hassle, there was more money. that was a different place immediately. So it was a really good starting point.
Brilliant. Okay, wonderful. Charlotte said, I think I'm your ideal client now. Well, look.
We're very open to new clients, Charlotte. Give me a ring.
That's excellent. Thank you very much, Val. You've been absolutely wonderful. Please thank Val in the chat box. Val will be around until around 5ish. I think you have to bow out at 5. But look, if you've got any more questions for Val, I'm sure you could maybe put some in the chat box to Val as well. But yeah, thank you very much, Val. Really appreciate it.